Hi, everyone. How are you? It's been very difficult to come on. I have been not struggling, not struggling at all, but it's a lot. It's a lot of emotions, a lot of things to sort out with the shift that's happening, the clarity of mind, heart, and soul with all your relationships and resurfacing things. And I just thought I would be raw tonight. I know it's been quite some time since I've been on because there's a lot going on, and it's not in my personal world per se, which that may be affected, but I think it's just overall with the changes that is happening in our world, the things that we are starting to see. And I haven't been on because it's a lot. It's a lot to feel the absence of and the absence of not. It's a lot to feel. It's a lot of energy. And yeah. Miss Sarah is hibernating. I've been hibernating. And I've been hibernating because sometimes we just need to sit still and listen. I think when you sit still and listen, you get a lot of information. Some information is beneficial, some information you don't even want to know. But sometimes we need to sit still and listen. And um, I know it's, I'm so thankful that you guys come on my channel and you tap in and you show up. And I know that sometimes I just pull away, and I pull away because there's a lot going on. And being a Scorpio, an emotional being that feels and sees and understands, it is a lot of information. So I kind of thought I would come by for a little bit and just say hi and just let you know what is going on in my world. I thought I would come by before I go to bed because for some reason I have not had time to really be on social media and post like I've been posting because it's been really busy for me. But with that said, I wanted to explain, like, I think we're all are feeling the silent noise that is in our world. I don't pay a lot of attention with the news, but because of my industry, I get a lot of news because my clients will make sure they let me know, right? And so I just wanted to come by and talk about a message that I got on TikTok. A gentleman reached out to me, and he asked me, and it was kind of not surprising, but what I loved about his message was, let me see if I can find it. Hope it'll show up on, my other phone. But yes, indeed, he left me this message about what he was feelings, what he was feeling, and I thought it was rather interesting um, what he was saying. But he basically said, he goes, Miss Sarah, why do every time I get into a relationship, the female is playing um, so many games, and they pretend that they love you, but then all behind it is drama. And sincerely, it told you that little message he sent me told me that I think the games are on both sides. I think one thing that I did, I reached out to him and I explained to him that when it's not about the female or the male, it's about, are they healed? Are they leaning into um, healing? Are they working on their internal conflict? And you know, you can't say it's a man or it's a woman, it's the feminine, it's the masculine. It depends on the individual and how much they are working on themselves. And even women go into relationships unhealed. Even women uh, go into relationships playing games. You know, the more unhealed, and one thing that I'm learning just in my own integration, and you know, you're always constantly evolving. This is what this ferment is about. This is what this reality is about. It's always in that evolution, the evolution of change, the evolution of learning, the evolution of expansion. That will be happening until you take your last breath. But you're here to remember who you are. You're here to remember and to understand the human experience. But one thing that I do notice is that the more I see people that are just like busy all the time, those people a lot of times are running from something. They can't sit still. They can't sit with themselves. They can't spend time with their internal thoughts. And it's so important for you to sit down and not really your internal thoughts, but to really sit down and understand and feel yourself. Feel how you're truly feeling, not being intruded from the world, the news, social media. Um, and like literally, I was off social media for a little. I mean, and don't get me wrong, because I'm human. I was having a hard time. I was having a hard time removing myself from social media. I was struggling with it, and that's because when you get tapped in like that, you get tapped in, and then the next thing you know, that you know, 1 hour goes by, and then 2 hours go by, and you've been on social media a half a day. And so I just really wanted to pull away from social media because I wanted to be in my thoughts and not somebody else's thoughts. I wanted to be influenced by my true real reality, not what someone else is telling me my reality is. And I really feel that sometimes it's very important that we do that. But as this gentleman was talking, I just like, we this shift, it's almost like we have this shift, and within the shift there's a split. And the split is not necessarily one side against the other side. The split is like you're on this path, and it's like you're on this sidewalk and you come to this juncture on this sidewalk, and right when you look down you see like this part of the sidewalk that will take you to another direction of the sidewalk is actually compromised. It is like it's very compromised. It doesn't have sturdiness, and so it's just like the whole world is at this at this sidewalk, and they're trying to uh, get across, and it's hard for them to get across because they can see down to the bottom, but the seeing down to the bottom is the illusion. And the only way that you can get out of the illusion, you need to be focused with what is going on truly with you. And so, what people are doing is they're entering in relationships that they're not ready for because we're in this illusion that you can't determine what feelings are real, what feelings are yours, what feelings are the collective, what feelings are what you've got on social media, what feelings that somebody told you you should feel. And so, in this illusion, I think what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to mask the emptiness that's lying with inside their soul by entering into relationships. And what we're doing, we're all we're all guilty of this, is we play out our anger, our illusions of someone else, or how we feel about someone else, or the illusions that we think we are, and we bring them into the relationship, and we rage war on another person. And and one thing is, it's just so sad because we're living in a society that people do not want to take responsibility. They won't own their own personal feelings um, about their responsibility to know who they are when they enter in a relationship. You know, it's so interesting because me and my friend, I've known Steve for many years. I've known him for many years, and he is a divine feminine. I mean, a divine masculine. But what I'm noticing is that a lot of men that are doing the work, they're still attached to the 3D experience because everything that's around and literally the foundation of wealth and things and them leveraging themselves is based in 3D. So they can't help, like, I listen to him talk sometimes, and he's so torn between the 3D experience and the ethereal experience. And one thing I want to say to men even now is that when you begin to respect your ethereal and you begin to respect your I am who you will automatically leverage and build wealth. Because, and one thing I told him today is that the more you give, because we are human beings of service to each other in love and understanding, and we are not serving each other, we're serving self, which is affecting all of our relationships. And there's like this misunderstanding that's going on with relationships. So as this gentleman was telling me, his reaction to women was he felt used, he felt not seen, and he also felt like, because when you think someone is playing games on an end, that means they're not hearing you. That means they're not seeing you. And just like I told you, I finally, and I'm afraid to even say it, but I finally got this gentleman that I I broke up with a year ago, and I finally think I got rid of him. But like, And I wasn't trying to be mean about getting rid of them, but you have to really become like very stern. And like this guy would change his number so he could call me. He would go on to different social medias so he could talk with me. But but you can't force a relationship with anyone. And so when you're getting behaviors like that and you're feeling like the person is being dishonest, the person is, they're not just being dishonest to you, they're being dishonest to themselves because they cannot be true to their selves. So what you're going to see is the very lies that they're telling their psyche, they're actually telling you the same thing that they're telling themselves. And where the trap is you begin to believe your own story, and you get lost in your story and forget that your story, when you're in a relationship, affects the person that is around you, because now you're putting them in your story. And women do the same thing. Women gaslight men and men gaslight women. And so what happens is that person gets to the end of the relationship and they realize that this person gave them promises that they never fulfilled, because what they did is they were stringing this person on. So this is why this gentleman was feeling the way he was feeling. And so it's just, I feel like right now, even though we have so much Venus energy around us, is still, you still have to look between the lines when you're dealing with people, because you want to vet them out. You want to understand, like, where are they really, because people do not come to you in their truth. They bring their representative, they package that representative, and it's like a business to them, because as they're packaging who they are, like I remember like dating this one guy. I had did a total background check on him. I already knew. But do you think he ever told me the truth? Mm-mm. Never. Never told me the truth. That was his downfall right there, because it wasn't like his background check was so horrible. His background check, it was almost like he couldn't be truthful. And that's what we're living in. We're living in a society of truth breakers. We're living in a society that people are having a hard time. But why? Now that's the thing. It's not the fact that they're doing that. It's why are they feeling so insecure that they have to fabricate this avatar of who they are, because that's exactly what they're doing, is they're creating an avatar of how they want you to see. But the thing about an avatar, the avatar has cracks in it, because if you look at an avatar long enough, it's just like AI generated. You look at something that's AI generated long enough, you start seeing the cracks in that story. You get what I'm saying? And so, but people really do this. They create this avatar, they create this person that is truly not them, because they're so insecure about who they truly are. And so people get to get into a relationship with these people. You get into a relationship and then you're constantly surprised. You always have that ghost look, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. Oh my God, I can't believe that. And then what you're dealing with is you're dealing with their moody behavior. You're dealing with their up and down, never knowing. It's like you're trying to catch a what do you call those what is those flies that the flies that light up. You're trying to catch one of those fireflies. Is that what they're called? Fireflies. You're trying to catch it, but you can't catch it because the closer you get to it, then they turn off, And so, you know, it's so crazy because the more I coach and the more I deal with people, you can't, it is totally, really, are you dealing with your dark night of the soul? Are you really tapped into when you are all alone and you have to sit with yourself? How do you feel about that person when there's no music on, there's no social media, there's no games going on, you don't got your favorite team that you're cheering on, girls, you don't have the latest, fashion. Okay, who are you when all of that is not playing in the background? That is what you want to see. What are your thoughts telling you when you are alone with yourself and you're not playing this role like you're a toddler, and you're not playing this role like you're trying to entertain yourself, to keep you from being truthful to yourself, to keep you from being in your truth, to keep you from being fully embodying who you authentically are. And half the time, we don't want to see the authentic self, because when you choose not to do your inner work, your dark night of the soul, you're not willing to work on yourself. Which what you start doing is gaslighting your own self. When you look in the mirror, you're gaslighting yourself. You're telling yourself that I'm okay the way I am. But the moment you feel uncomfortable with yourself, you go find a toy to play with, and that could be your friends. That can be, a project. It could be anything to keep from being silent, to keep from hearing and being with yourself. You can find out so much of who you are by sitting still for a moment. I challenge you. I challenge you. You know, sit. I'm not going to even say long. I say that. Sit for a couple. Give yourself 2 hours. 2 hours. No music, no social media, no, have some books around you. Don't even look at the books. Just be with yourself, not in your head, in your body. And tell me, what will you see? Tell me truly, what will you feel? What would you say to yourself? Who will come through? What emotion will come through? I'm just saying, 2 hours. Hi, Tara. How are you? Nice to talk with you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for responding. Who are you? Like, really? Them 2 hours. It's kind of interesting. Who are you in those 2 hours? As I've been away, I have been just sitting, and I've been amazed. I've been amazed. And the reason that I could understand what this gentleman was saying, why are people so fake? People are fake because they're hiding from their dark. They're hiding from the shadows. They're hiding from their pain. They're hiding from their disappointments. They're hiding from their failures. They're hiding from their disappointments. They're hiding, and if anything will make them or remind them of all those things, thank you. Thank you so much. It's if it's when people start reminding and you're sitting with yourself and you're reminded of your disappointments, or you're reminded how someone treated you, or you're reminded how you were treated, or how you responded to the treatment, or all that. When you start really thinking about it, that's when you know. And so that's why when you just sit, I'm just saying, I'm just challenging you, you know, like tomorrow's Monday, right? Take two hours. Take 2 hours. No social media, no nothing. Just being in your body. And then on Tuesday, add an hour. Then on Wednesday, add an hour. And when you get to the end of the week, tell me how you were really feeling. Tell me what came up. And I know this is very difficult for men, is that I think women do it a little more easier, but that's because we're just very emotional beings, okay? But there was like I've been doing it a lot, and I'm just sitting in it because it's almost like having plumbing, and the plumbing is got all this hair and gunk in it, and the water flow is not draining freely. So I what I was understanding is, as I was sitting with myself, things would come up. Sometimes I would like be in, it was like serendipity. Sometimes it would just be like serendipity, something really sweet, something I would remember from my childhood, or something that I would remember, with my girlfriend. But then I would have times that I remember sadness, and I would remember how that made me feel, and I looked at how it made me, like really, just really sad. So I leaned into the sadness, and I started asking myself, where did I feel felt, or what was I truly feeling in this time of sadness? And when I started doing that, it opened my pipes to be able to be okay with feeling what I was feeling. And so even when I was looking at some of my disappointments and things, I actually saw my role in it. Um, because when you grow up in a family where there is a lot of abuse, where there is a lot of narcissistic behavior, where you're never being seen, when you grow up like that, you learn to protect yourself in your mindset. I don't, sometimes it's a conscious, sometimes it's subconscious. You'll literally say to yourself, um, I will never put myself in a place that someone else will hurt me like I was hurt. And then you become the weaponizer rather than being the person that say, oh my gosh, because I went through this, I never want somebody else to go through that. But what we finally find ourselves doing is we end up weaponizing our pain on someone else. And so when this gentleman came to me and started really asking me, like, why do women do that? Women are doing that because they're taking the pain that they felt from their father or their mother, or a relative or uncle, or it may not be in their immediate family. It could be someone in their ancestry, and they were the chosen one. And so when he was saying that, I said it can happen to anyone. When I started doing this work, I really started understanding. I'm like, dang, I I am just as responsible, because I was weaponizing the pain that I was feeling. Women do it very different than men, but they do it. No one, it's like They always say the two things you always going to pay is the one things you can't get away from is death and taxes. But you can't get away with not integrating your energy. You can't get away with not taking responsibility in order to heal, because without responsibility, you will never find healing, and it will show up on you. That's why you see men, older men, bitter and angry, um, because they lived a life ignoring, ignoring their inner truth, ignoring and taking responsibility for leaving their children, ignoring and taking responsibility of how they treated their children. Mothers too. Everybody has a responsibility to themselves. And at one period of time, yeah, you can blame it on your mom, or, you can blame it on, you can blame it on, but you get to a certain place that you need to allow yourself to hear yourself, to hear how deep the lie is. Because the deeper the lie, the more busier your life becomes, because you never want to tap into those feelings that will cause you to take responsibility. And I know it's not fair sometimes, because sometimes you didn't. No one deserves to be treated poorly. Everybody deserves common decency, but that's not always true. People don't always get common decency, and they don't always get the appropriate action and behavior. So when a person, thank you, I do customizations if you're interested. Um, so if you really think about it, it's really important that you look at your part played into the situation. Because if you don't take responsibility of your part in the situation, you'll be singing that song that gentleman was saying. And one thing, I hear this in conversations a lot. Well, why do I draw that to myself? You're drawing it to yourself because you will see that very thing that takes you out over and over and over again until you find out the why. And until you find out the why, you will never have the code that brings healing and change to that behavior, or what you pull to yourself every time. Because actually, the behavior that you're seeing is the very pain, is the very infestation that's dormant in your cycle that you keep drawing to yourself over and over again. And that is the hardest thing for people to wrap their mind around, because when you tell a person that you chose the family, you chose your experience, they have a hard time, especially if they're still angry. If they're still angry and they haven't healed, because healing gives you the answers to the why. Healing gives you grace. Healing gives you power. Healing gives you expression. Healing makes you seen. And when you start realizing that the whole time healing only and truly benefits you. It's not for the person that hurt you. It's not for the person that put you in that place. It took what they did to bring to the light on how deep the pain is, so you can begin to mine it out of your body, to get it out of your chakras, to get it out of your heart, to get it out of your soul. And that's why we're in this, like, you know we're in these, like, really aggressive changes, because we're at the end of a millennium and we're going into a new millennium. And I don't think you want to go into another millennium with all this garbage in this gunk in your pipes. You won't make it another 10, 15, 20 years. You're not going to make it. That's why it's this aggression, this soul thing that's going on inside of us, that's making us feel that is truly making us feel unloved, unwanted, unseen, misunderstood, because we won't allow ourselves to heal. And it's sad because this is what's so sad. You hear the same cry, and it's weird because it starts when you're like 15. No, it actually starts when you start hitting, like, you know 13, 14, 15, and then you start realizing, oh my gosh, I'm now 30 years old singing the same song that I was singing when I was 15, because you have that unhealed trauma, and it still looks like that to other people. You just gotten used to it and you matured into it, that you don't even realize that you're still back there. And you're blaming your mother, you're blaming your father, you're blaming everybody. But once you get to a place of total understanding, it is your responsibility. It's totally your responsibility to love on yourself. And that's when you start, like, the moment you start taking ownership of your healing, that's when you begin to love yourself. And the moment you start loving yourself, you're going to start seeing how each step that you start taking responsibility for your healing, the more empowered you will be, the more seen you will be, the more effective you will be, the more grace you will give to others. And you give to others because you've been there, done that, and heal from that. And that is the beauty of the why we do the things we do. And that's why this guy is going, like, why women do this. Men do it too. They just do it in a different way. So I hope you guys are integrating your energy. I hope you're spending a lot of time. If you're curious about some of my work, the talents that I do, in my bio is my link tree. I think my website link is in there. And also, I'm a Amazon influencer. So, some of my favorite products. Also, I have hair care products that are in that link. Also, the ones that I recommend for hair extensions, and if you're wearing a wig, your wigs, everything. So thank you for showing up, showing out. I know this was random, but I just felt a need to come on so y'all wouldn't think I just disappeared into the ether. No, I have been doing a lot of internal healing. I hope your guys, if I'm not, when I'm not on, that you're alongside doing the same thing. It is life affirming. It's changed my life. Sometimes I look at my old clips and I've seen my evolution. I've literally seen how much I have grown as a human being and how much I have changed and how much I have a sense of peace in my soul. And it's all because I said yes to integrating and healing and taking responsibility for my own personal life. And you can do the same. And thank you so much for showing up and showing out. Have a good evening. Bye bye.